Solitude used to scare me. Now it strengthens me. There was a time when being alone felt like punishment, like something was wrong with me, like I was missing out on life while everyone else was living theirs. I'd scroll through my phone, watching other people's highlight reels, feeling emptier with every swipe. The silence in my room wasn't peaceful. It was deafening. It screamed at me that I wasn't enough, that I needed someone, something, anything to fill the void. But here's what I didn't understand back then. I wasn't afraid of being alone. I was afraid of being with myself, and I wasn't the only one. Right now, we're living through what experts are calling a loneliness epidemic. Studies show that more than 60% of adults report feeling lonely on a regular basis, and that number has doubled in the last 50 years. We're more connected than ever before, yet we've never felt more isolated. We have thousands of friends online, but no one to call at 2 a.m. We're surrounded by noise, notifications, and endless content, yet we feel profoundly empty inside. The average person checks their phone over 150 times a day. We can't sit in a waiting room without pulling out our devices. We can't eat a meal without documenting it. We can't even be alone with our thoughts for 5 minutes without feeling the itch to distract ourselves. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you were truly alone without reaching for your phone? When was the last time you sat in silence and didn't feel the need to fill it with something, anything, just to avoid being with yourself? Think about it. Picture an empty room. 4 walls, a window, soft light coming through, no music, no TV, no phone, just you. How does that make you feel? Peaceful or terrified? For most of us, it's the latter. Because somewhere along the way, we learned to associate being alone with being lonely. We learned that solitude meant something was missing, that if we weren't constantly surrounded by people, entertainment, or validation, we were somehow failing at life. But what if being alone was never the problem? What if it was how we looked at it? The ancient Stoics understood something we've forgotten. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, spent much of his life surrounded by people, advisors, soldiers, politicians, crowds. Yet he wrote in his private journal, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." He wasn't talking about running away to a mountain or escaping society. He was talking about the ability to find peace within yourself, no matter where you are or who you're with. The Stoics believed that true freedom came from self-sufficiency, from not needing external things to feel whole. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, wrote, "The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach." He spent years in exile, alone, stripped of his status and wealth, and it was in that solitude that he discovered his greatest strength. He realized that happiness didn't come from what he had or who was around him. It came from his relationship with himself. Epictetus, who was born a slave, taught that we suffer not because of what happens to us, but because of how we interpret it. Loneliness, he would say, is not a condition of being alone. It's a belief that we need something outside ourselves to be complete. The Stoics practiced solitude deliberately. They saw it as a form of training, a way to strengthen the mind, to become unshakable, to realize that you are enough, even when you're on your own. And they weren't the only ones. In Buddhism, solitude is sacred. The Buddha himself spent years in meditation, alone, seeking enlightenment. Buddhist teachings emphasize non-attachment, the idea that suffering comes from clinging to things, people, and outcomes. When you're constantly seeking validation from others, you're attaching your worth to something outside yourself, and that's a recipe for suffering. Mindfulness, a core Buddhist practice, is about being fully present with yourself, not distracting, not escaping, just being. And in that presence, you discover something profound. You are complete, just as you are. Even Nietzsche, the German philosopher, spoke about the power of walking alone. He believed that true strength came from the individual who could stand apart from the crowd, think for themselves, and create their own meaning, he wrote. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. In the past, solitude was seen as a path to wisdom. Monks retreated to monasteries. Philosophers wandered alone. Artists isolated themselves to create. Solitude wasn't loneliness, it was clarity. But today, solitude has been replaced by loneliness, and there's a difference. Ancient solitude was intentional. It was chosen. It was a space for reflection, creativity, and growth. Modern loneliness is reactive. It's the feeling you get when you're scrolling through Instagram at midnight, comparing your life to everyone else's. It's the emptiness you feel when you're surrounded by people but still feel unseen. It's the anxiety that creeps in when you're alone because you've forgotten how to be with yourself. We've traded depth for distraction, presence for performance, connection for content, and in doing so, we've lost something essential: the ability to be at peace with ourselves. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I met someone who decided to turn off their phone for an entire week. No social media, no texts, no emails. Just them, a journal, and their thoughts. The first day, they said, was unbearable. They felt anxious, restless, like they were missing something important. But by the third day, something shifted. The noise in their head started to quiet. They began to notice things they'd been too distracted to see. The way the morning light hit their window, the sound of birds outside, the rhythm of their own breathing. By the end of the week, they told me they felt more like themselves than they had in years. They realized they'd been running from themselves, filling every moment with noise because they were afraid of what they might find in the silence. But in the silence, they found peace. By the way, where in the world are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to see how far this message travels. Now, let's talk about the science behind this. Modern psychology, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy, teaches us that our thoughts shape our emotions. If you believe that being alone means you're unwanted, unloved, or inadequate, then of course solitude will feel painful. But if you can reframe that belief, if you can see solitude as an opportunity rather than a punishment, everything changes. CBT helps us identify and challenge negative thought patterns. For example, if you're alone on a Friday night and you think, everyone else is out having fun and I'm here by myself like a loser, that thought will make you feel lonely. But if you reframe it, I'm choosing to spend time with myself tonight, and that's okay, the feeling shifts. It's not about pretending loneliness doesn't exist. It's about recognizing that loneliness is often a story we tell ourselves, not an objective reality. And here's the thing, our brains are wired for connection. That's not a bad thing. But in the modern world, we've confused connection with constant availability. We think we need to be plugged in 24/7, or we'll be left behind. We think we need to be liked, followed, and validated by others to matter. But that's exhausting, and it's a trap. Social media has created a culture of comparison. We see everyone's best moments and compare them to our worst. We see people surrounded by friends and think, why don't I have that? We see success, beauty, adventure, and we feel like we're falling short. But what we don't see is the loneliness behind the screen. The person posting the party photo who went home and cried. The influencer with 1 million followers who feels completely alone. The couple smiling in the picture who barely speak anymore. We're all performing, and in the performance, we've forgotten how to just be. Do you enjoy being alone? Or does it still make you uncomfortable? Let me know in the comments. I read them all. If this resonates with you so far, consider subscribing. We explore ancient wisdom for the modern mind every week. So how do we shift from loneliness to solitude? How do we learn to be alone without feeling lonely? It starts with presence. When you're alone, don't run from it. Don't immediately grab your phone or turn on the TV. Sit with it, feel it, notice what comes up. Maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's sadness, maybe it's boredom. That's okay. Those feelings won't kill you. They're just signals. And the more you sit with them, the less power they have. Next, reframe your relationship with yourself. You are not a burden. You are not too much or not enough. You are not broken because you're alone. You are a whole, complete person, capable of finding peace within yourself. Start treating yourself like someone you love. Talk to yourself with kindness. Spend time doing things that nourish you. Reading, walking, creating, thinking. Rediscover what you enjoy, not because it looks good on social media, but because it makes you feel alive. Solitude is where creativity lives. It's where ideas are born. It's where you reconnect with who you really are, beneath all the noise and expectations. Marcus Aurelius was right. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Your soul is not a scary place. It's a sanctuary. But you have to be willing to go there. And here's what happens when you do. You stop needing other people to complete you. You stop seeking validation from external sources. You stop feeling like you're missing out because you realize that everything you need is already within you. You are complete, even in silence. You are growing, even when still. You are connected, even when alone. This doesn't mean you don't need people. Humans are social creatures. Connection is beautiful. But there's a difference between wanting connection and needing it to survive. When you're at peace with yourself, relationships become richer. You're not clinging. You're not performing. You're just being. And that's when real connection happens. If this helped you see loneliness differently, subscribe for more calm, reflective content like this. I'll leave you with this. There's a moment that comes when you've spent enough time alone, really alone, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. A moment when the fear dissolves, when the silence stops feeling heavy and starts feeling light. When you realize that you're not missing anyone else. You are missing yourself. You are missing the version of you that exists beneath the performance, beneath the anxiety, beneath the need to be seen and validated. The version of you that's been there all along, waiting patiently for you to come home. Solitude isn't the absence of connection. It's the deepest connection you'll ever have. The one with yourself. And once you find that, you'll never feel truly alone again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking this journey with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about being alone? What helps you find peace in solitude? Drop a comment below. Let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, be kind to yourself. You're doing better than you think.